Welcome aboard Bedtime Stories Airline. Tonight, as the skies darken and the stars gather outside your window, we prepare for a journey unlike any other. Our destination is neither a city nor a coast, but a hidden place of memory and mystery. The tale is titled The Forgotten Garden, the Dreamer's Sanctuary. Allow yourself to lean back in your seat, adjust the rhythm of your breath to match the steady hum of the engines, and let your thoughts drift into the quiet corridors between waking and dreaming. Tonight's voyage will not only carry you across cloud and sky, but through secret pathways of the heart. Fasten your senses lightly, for this will be a journey without turbulence, where only the soul is stirred. Now, let us depart. The transition is so gentle the dreamer hardly notices it at first. One moment, their eyes rest half-closed in the dim aisle light of the aircraft cabin, lulled by the soft vibration of engines and the hush of fellow travelers dozing around them. The next, they are standing, quite suddenly, beneath the open sky. It is not the night sky seen from a window seat. No, this sky is softer, silver blue, scattered with stars that spiral in constellations no chart could ever name. And before them rises a gate. Ancient, wrought iron, covered in ivy that curls and twists as though it has grown there for centuries. The bars shimmer faintly, lit by a moon whose glow is gentler than any earthly moon. Its surface seems to breathe, pulsing faintly with light. The dreamer approaches, breath slowing, heart tightening with an unspoken question. The air here is damp with fragrance, roses, lavender, earth after rain. The scents arrive together, as though memory itself had taken a breath. They place their hand on the gate. To their surprise, it is warm. Not metallic cold, but warm, almost like the gate itself is alive. With the faintest creak, it swings open, welcoming them into a realm that feels suspended between time and eternity. Beyond stretches a garden. Forgotten, yes, for its paths are overgrown with ivy and moss, its fountains cracked, its hedges untamed. Yet it is beautiful, almost heartbreakingly so. Every rose glows faintly in the moonlight, petals like lanterns. The gravel paths crunch beneath their shoes, though the sound is muted, muffled, as though cushioned by dreams. They walk a little further, heartbeat echoing in the hush. And then, a flicker of movement. At the far end of the rose-lined path, someone is there. A figure, tall and upright, moving among the blooms. The dreamer freezes. The silhouette seems real, undeniably real, yet blurred, as though part of the mist. A voice almost escapes their lips. Instead, only a whisper, "Hello?" The figure pauses. Turns. The faint shimmer of eyes meeting theirs. A heartbeat, too. And then, gone. The figure dissolves like smoke into the garden's mist. Only the faint sway of roses remains, as though stirred by the shadows passing. The dreamer is left alone, the silence of the garden pressing close, the question hanging heavy in their chest, who else walks here? The path beckons. Step by step, the dreamer ventures deeper. The garden does not feel still. It breathes. The hedges hum faintly, a low vibration at the edge of hearing. Blossoms tremble though no wind passes through. Even the moonlight itself seems alive, pulling and shifting, as though drawn by invisible tides. The dreamer kneels beside a cluster of lilies. Their petals gleam pure white, their fragrance sweet, dizzying, almost too much to inhale. When fingertips brush against one, the flower bends toward the hand, not merely moving, but responding, like a living creature seeking touch. And then it happens. A rush floods the dreamer's chest, warm and overwhelming. A vision unfurls, a child's laughter, high and free, echoing through a garden long gone. The scent of wet soil after a storm. The bright grasp of a toy once loved, now lost to time. It vanishes in an instant. The dreamer stumbles back, startled, heart racing. The realization takes root slowly, like a seed opening. This garden remembers. Every flower, every leaf, holds memory. Forgotten laughter, faded sorrow, fragments of lives once lived. It is not only a place of beauty, but a sanctuary of what the world leaves behind. The dreamer walks further. Vines arch overhead, heavy with blossoms that glow faintly as though charged by unseen stars. Through the gaps, constellations twist strangely, forming patterns that tug at something deep within, half known, half forgotten. Then comes another sound. At first, it is only the rustle of leaves. But no, it is laughter, distant, fleeting. Then, without warning, the muffled sob of grief. Voices overlapping, rising and fading like waves. Fragments of memory trapped in foliage, replaying their silent stories. The dreamer stops. Breath shallow. If the garden remembers all, then whose voices do they hear? Their own past? Or someone else's? Far ahead, a soft chime echoes through the mist. Clear, delicate, like the sound of an intercom gently announcing seatbelts fastened. Yet here, in the silver hush of the garden, it sounds otherworldly, a bell guiding them forward. They take another step. And another. The mist thickens, the path curves, the whispers fade back into silence. The dreamer feels it deep in their chest, something waits for them here. Something not yet revealed. When sleep deepens the following night, the dreamer returns. Again, the gate swings open as though it has been expecting them. Again, the fragrance of roses greets them like an embrace. And again, their feet find the winding path, carrying them further into the sanctuary. This time, they stop before a bush of roses. Each bloom glows faintly, pulsing with a subtle light, as though alive with breath. Drawn by curiosity, they touch one. The world tilts. Suddenly, they are not standing in the garden at all but standing in a kitchen years ago, a shaft of golden sunlight spilling across worn tiles. Their mother hums at the stove, her back turned, the air thick with the smell of cinnamon. The dreamer feels the warmth of the moment seep into them, vivid as though no time had passed. Then, gone. The garden snaps back around them, the rose trembling, petals quivering as though exhausted. The dreamer steps back, breath shaky. Another flower catches their eye, pale pink, trembling gently. They resist at first, but the pull is irresistible. When their fingertip grazes the petal, another vision blooms, a quiet park bench at dusk, two hands held beneath the shadows of trees. A confession whispered, a smile that changed everything. It ends just as suddenly. The dreamer gasps. Each flower holds a memory. Each one a door. But as they look around, they notice something unsettling. The garden itself has shifted. The paths curve differently than before, the hedges lean closer, the air feels thicker. The act of remembering has changed the sanctuary. And though they stand alone, they cannot escape the feeling, someone else has walked here too, touching petals not their own, leaving ripples that alter the garden's shape. On the third night, the dreamer returns with anticipation pressed into their chest like a heartbeat. The gate yields. The fragrance greets them. But tonight there is more. Beneath the silver branches of a willow, a figure waits. Not missed this time. Not fleeting. Solid, seated upon the grass, head tilted as though lost in thought. The figure is cloaked in shadow still, but the certainty strikes, they are not alone. The dreamer steps closer. Their shoes crunch softly against gravel. The figure lifts their head. For a moment, the moonlight brushes their face, delicate, indistinct, yet undeniably human. Their eyes meet. Time stretches. Words hover between them but refuse to form, caught in the hush of the garden. The dreamer's throat tightens with the weight of unspoken recognition, though they cannot place from where or when. A soft breeze stirs. Mist rises. And just as suddenly as before, the vision fades. The figure dissolves into air, leaving the dreamer alone beneath the willow tree. Only the lingering warmth of their gaze remains, like an echo pressed into the dreamer's chest. Who are they? Another memory? Another dreamer? Or someone lost, someone waiting? The question deepens, unanswered. The garden was not silent. It never truly was. Beneath the hush of leaves, beneath the murmur of fountains, there was always something, an undercurrent of memory, like a whisper just at the edge of hearing. Tonight, it felt especially alive, as though their footsteps had awakened something long waiting for them. Arya carried the lantern now, its glow trembling over stone arches laced with ivy. Each time the flame wavered, shadows of roses bloomed and withered against the walls. She felt a strange comfort in holding it, as if the flame were not just fire, but a heartbeat tethering her to this dream. Elias walked beside her, quiet, watching her more than the path. "It suits you," he said softly, almost to himself. "What does?" "The light. The way it bends to you. As though it has always known you." His words sank deep, not merely compliments but something older, something belonging to the garden itself. Arya turned away before her blush betrayed her. The lantern flickered brighter, as though amused by her shyness. They came upon a gate carved into the hedge, its iron curls forming shapes almost floral, almost human. At its center was an emblem, two wings, feathered, intertwined. Arya's breath caught. I've seen this before. In your dream? Elias asked. She nodded, fingertips brushing the cool metal. The wings pulsed faintly beneath her touch, as though the gate remembered her. Elias leaned closer, voice low. Perhaps it is more than a dream. Perhaps you belong here. The gate creaked, not opening outward, not inward, but unfolding like a secret. Beyond it, a narrower path wound toward what looked like the heart of the garden. The lantern flared, as if urging them forward. And together, they stepped through. The air grew cooler as they walked, the scent of roses softening into something more elusive, jasmine, night blooming, and intoxicating. The lantern's glow revealed a marble circle at the center of the path. In its middle lay a pool, still as glass, reflecting not just the sky, but something deeper. Arya knelt at its edge. When she leaned over, she expected to see her own face. Instead, she saw herself as a child, running through tall grass, hair unbound, laughter spilling like music. The image shifted, showing her curled on a windowsill, reading by candlelight, eyes heavy with dreams. She gasped. It's my life. Elias crouched beside her, peering into the water. His reflection appeared too, but younger, solemn, watching the world from afar. He frowned, almost painfully, before the pool shimmered again, showing him reaching for someone unseen, then retreating. It knows us, Arya whispered. Elias's jaw tightened. It shows what we've hidden from ourselves. Arya touched the water. Ripples distorted the images, blending child with adult, laughter with silence. For an instant, the pool showed not two lives, but one, her hand in his, walking a path not yet taken. Elias caught his breath, pulling back as though burned. That cannot be. Why not? She asked, her voice trembling with both hope and fear. He shook his head. Because some paths aren't meant to cross. Some are destined to end in longing. The pool stilled, reflecting only the night sky again. The stars seemed brighter in its depths, as though urging them not to turn away. Arya reached for him, her fingertips brushing his sleeve. Then let this garden decide, not fear. For the first time, Elias did not pull away. They moved on, hand brushing against hand, silence wrapping them in something fragile yet unbreakable. The path narrowed, stone giving way to soft moss that muffled their steps. Ahead loomed a round chamber formed of ancient walls, open to the sky. At its center rose a single pedestal, carved of white stone. As they entered, the air vibrated faintly, like a hum beneath the skin. Arya froze. She heard whispers, low, melodic, overlapping, yet no one stood there but them. Do you hear it? She asked. Elias nodded grimly. The garden remembers. This is where it keeps its echoes. The whispers grew clearer, forming fragments of voices. Aria. Elias, the wings entwined, the path awaits. Aria's heart pounded. They know our names. Elias stepped closer to the pedestal. Resting upon it was a book bound in leather the color of midnight. Its cover bore the same winged emblem as the gate. He hesitated, then opened it. The pages were not filled with words, but moving images. Scenes flickered across them like living memories, a man and a woman meeting beneath starlight, hands almost touching. A lantern glowing brighter than fire. A pool of reflections merging two paths into one. It was their story. Aria trembled. But how? It's written already, everything we've done. Elias closed the book slowly, his voice tight. No. Not everything. Look. The final pages were blank. Aria stared, breath caught between dread and wonder. It's waiting for us. The whispers swelled, filling the chamber, voices rising as though urging them onward. For the first time, Elias did not try to resist. He took her hand fully, intertwining their fingers. And the lantern flared, casting their joined shadows across the walls. Shadows that looked less like two travelers, and more like one being, whole at last. But as the light danced, a new shadow flickered behind them. Something vast. Something watching. The chamber's echoes fell silent. The garden was holding its breath. The unseen shadow lingered in the chamber's silence, heavy as a storm before lightning. Aria gripped Elias's hand tighter, the lantern flickering as though aware of the intruder. But when they turned, there was nothing there, only vines shifting gently, as if stirred by wind that did not exist. Perhaps it was nothing, Aria whispered, though her heart knew otherwise. Nothing does not silence a garden, Elias replied, his eyes scanning the darkness. They left the chamber cautiously, following a corridor of arching boughs. The path sloped downward, and a hush deeper than before seemed to fold around them. Above, the stars dimmed, veiled by drifting clouds that gathered too quickly. Aria glanced up. It feels as if the sky itself is closing. Elias squeezed her hand. We must reach the heart before the veil falls completely. Only then will we know why this place has called us. The lantern burned brighter in agreement, casting golden halos on their faces. And though fear tugged at her, Aria felt something steadier bloom within, an unspoken trust, not just in the garden, but in the man beside her. They descended into a hollow ringed with statues, winged figures, weathered but graceful, each holding a vessel from which no water flowed. Their stone eyes seemed to follow Aria and Elias, as though measuring the weight of their steps. At the center, an altar waited. Upon it lay a single rose, its petals black as midnight. The black rose pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat trapped in velvet. Aria approached it slowly, the lantern's glow painting its petals in shades of crimson that flickered, faded, and returned. "It's alive," she whispered. Elias stood tense beside her. "Be careful. Some roses bleed instead of bloom." Yet when Arya extended her hand, the rose tilted toward her touch like a bird seeking warmth. The whispers returned, but now they spoke clearly. One path must be chosen. One bond must be sealed. Elias exhaled sharply. "The garden demands decision." Arya lifted the rose. Instantly, the statues stirred, their vessels filling with water that streamed into the hollow, forming a circular pool around them. The reflection of the rose glowed in the water, casting ripples of light across their joined shadows. "What happens if we choose wrong?" Arya asked, her voice shaking. Elias's gaze softened, though sorrow touched its edges. "The garden does not punish. It remembers. And forgetting may be the crueler fate." Her breath hitched. Forgetting him, forgetting this night, felt unbearable. She tightened her grip on the rose, holding it close to her chest. "Then let it remember us. Let it write us, not erase us." Elias reached for her, his hand steady now. "Then choose with me, not alone." The lantern flared. The whispers hushed. The garden seemed to lean closer, waiting. Together, they lowered the rose into the pool. The water shimmered silver, then gold, then blinding white. The brilliance subsided into calm radiance, and the statues' faces softened as though smiling. In the pool's surface, the reflection no longer showed two figures. Only one, formed of their shadows, their hearts, their entwined hands. The whispers rose in chorus, the wings entwined. "The story begins." Arya turned to Elias, breathless. "It's us. It has always been us." For the first time, Elias smiled fully, not shadowed by sorrow. "Then we are no longer dreamers apart. We are the dream itself." But before their lips could meet, the unseen shadow returned, no longer faint, but vast, rising from the far edges of the garden. Its form was neither man nor beast, but a veil of night itself, seeping through hedges, blotting out stars. The lantern dimmed, struggling against its darkness. The pool rippled, distorting their reflection until it fractured into two again. Arya gasped. "No, it cannot end like this." The whispers broke into cries, urgent, warning, "The veil comes. Choose again. Choose now." The garden trembled as if shaken by turbulence. The ground shifted beneath their feet. Somewhere far above, a sound echoed, an intercom chime, soft and steady, blending seamlessly with the dream. "Ladies and gentlemen," the voice cooed, calm as silk, "if you are enjoying tonight's journey aboard Bedtime Stories Airline, kindly fasten your support by subscribing. It helps keep our skies open for more tales among the clouds." The words settled like lullabies, almost too gentle to notice. Yet the shadow loomed closer, pressing them toward their final decision. Elias pulled Arya into his arms, whispering fiercely, "Whatever happens, remember this, our story does not end in silence. Not tonight." The veil swelled, reaching for them. The lantern flickered one last time, its flame stretched thin. Arya closed her eyes, clutching his hand as the garden dissolved into light and shadow. And when the silence came, it was not an ending, but a pause. "Welcome back, dear dreamer, to the quiet cabin of the night. The garden's paths have closed for now, its echoes left unresolved, its veil still waiting. Will the wings entwine forever? Or will the veil of forgetting scatter them across separate skies? That is for your dreams to decide. Until our next voyage, may your rest be soft, your heart unburdened, and your skies forever open." This was the Forgotten Garden, the dreamer's sanctuary. Good night.